A woman has been jailed for life for murdering her estranged husband, whose death she had tried to pass off as a suicide. Amy Pugh, 34, attacked Carl Pugh following an argument in March 2022 at the home they had shared in Newport, Shropshire. In a bid to cover up her crime, she lied to emergency services that the injuries to an unresponsive Mr. Pugh, 29, were self-inflicted, but she was found guilty of murder at Stratford Crown Court in June. In court, Pugh was ordered to serve at least 14 years in prison. Delivering the sentence, Judge Christina Montgomery, KC, said there had been a volatile dynamic between the couple and conflict had been fueled by alcohol and substance abuse. Your relationship was described by everyone, including yourself, as toxic, she said. The judge added that Pugh, of Stafford Road, Wolverhampton, had struck her husband with such force that his nose and eye socket were broken, although it was injuries to his neck that led to his death. During the trial, jurors had heard how the separated pair argued over Mr. Pugh's new partner when he visited their house in Newport just after 20:30 p.m. on the 22nd of March 3 years ago. The row turned violent and Mr. Pugh was struck in the face, and while he fought back, the court heard he was overpowered by his wife, who was able to subdue him and deliberately compress his neck by some means, perhaps with a chokehold. Mr. Pugh sustained neck compression injuries and was left unconscious. It was then that Amy Pugh attempted to ensure his ailing condition could not be linked to her, seeking to exploit his history of mental health struggles to her own advantage, the judge said in sentencing. The court had previously heard that when Pugh called emergency services, she told them the injuries were a result of Mr. Pugh's own actions, and in a 999 call could be heard shouting, "Carl, wake up, why have you done this?" Mr. Pugh was taken to hospital, where he died the following day. But the trial was told that while Mr. Pugh did not have a history of self-harm and attempts to take his own life, he had sent messages to his girlfriend, his father, and his friends on the evening of the attack, making plans to see them that night. The judge said that on Friday, the killer had decided to concoct a lie and stage a scene.
Please make it up, please.
I know, darling, come in here.
Has he got a pulse or what?
I don't think
Because
he's
his
got...
heart's moving, so there's a chance that he will survive this stupidity.
She said that if Pugh had called the emergency services sooner, Mr. Pugh might have lived. Instead, the judge said she had been composed enough to tell persuasive and coercive lies about what had happened. She said those lies had been cynical and cruel, and they had caused Carl Pugh's family significant additional suffering. His family have had to endure repeated investigation and examination of his body and a significant delay to putting their loved one to rest, she added. Describing the fatal attack, the judge told Pugh, "You struck Carl Pugh with such a force that his nose and eye socket were broken, and then you compressed his neck, using either a chokehold or a forearm against his windpipe." She said you restricted the blood flow to his brain. He slipped into unconsciousness and suffered a cardiac arrest. The judge further told her, "You were fixated on Carl Pugh. You had hoped he would return to live with you, despite his newly formed relationship. Carl Pugh had no intention of reuniting with you that night." She added she accepted boundaries between victim and the aggressor blurred, and that violence was introduced into your relationship by Mr. Pugh. The judge said then that in working out the minimum term Pugh would serve, she had taken into account that the neck compression may have been a reflex response to escalating violence, and that the killer may have considered she would come off worse in the violence that followed, trying everything to prevent your coming to harm. That the judge said was no defence but was mitigation. In family statements read out in court, a further picture of the killer's manipulation emerged. Mr. Pugh's father, Keith Pugh, said his son had a great heart, one that no longer beats, and hasn't for over 3 years. He said his daughter-in-law had gone with the family to arrange the funeral and had visited their home, but they knew something was wrong. Mr. Pugh's sister, Victoria Edmonds, said his death had been a nightmare I've not woken up from. She also described saying goodbye to her brother in hospital and moving out of the way as he died so Amy Pugh could be with him. She's the reason we've lost him forever, she said. Another sister, Kaylee Pugh, said she would remember her brother as a kind and funny man, but she recalled the toxic culture between he and his wife and said arguments were becoming physical. She said she wanted people to remember men can also be victims of domestic violence and added, as a culture we are hardwired to believe domestic violence towards a man is impossible.
Hello, can I be ambulance please? My husband's hung himself.
You idiot! Oh, my wife is easy!
You are now under arrest on suspicion of murder.
What?
Say anything, but
He killed himself for sake! He hung himself! I found him! So why are you here again?
Speaking about the wait to hold a funeral for her brother caused a prolonged examination of the body, she said. The last 3.5 years have been an absolute hell. Her father said the protracted investigation had placed an unimaginable toll on the family. Following the sentencing, Detective Inspector George Elene of West Mercia Police said it had been a long, complex investigation. She said she knew the pair had a volatile relationship. However, Kyle should not have died at the hands of a woman he once loved. Pugh had then callously used her knowledge of her ex-partner's mental issues to protect herself, she stated. Detective Inspector Delahaye added that while it was unusual for a woman to murder a man, the West Mercia force would take all reports of domestic abuse seriously. Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.